I clicked to see if that was the real Alex Stein to see how much of a thank. If it was a fake Alex Stein, I would have said thanks for the $5, ass. But it's Mr. Alex Stein, who knows he's welcome to call in anytime. Chrissy's just a hi, okay, yeah, all right. The only person I've ever seen Chrissy unfortunately yell at and like kick off her stream is Alex. Alex was on Simcast. He was yelling at Ricada. He was calling it before any of us did. I didn't even know the guy. Not Alex, I mean Nick. But I didn't actually. I think that's the thing that got Alex and I to actually talk. Was Alex like trolled April on Chrissy's show, and then called Nick a cuck. And long story short, Alex and I end up messaging each other. He comes on the show, and he was actually really cool, and I felt like a bag of shit for talking shit about any of his stuff. So now, I think this Melonie Mac thing has grifter written all over it, but it was a failed grift, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what she falls back on. Now, Chrissy has come out and defended Melonie Mac and said, oh, if you guys want to judge her so harshly, here's the things Christians aren't allowed to do, and if you think she's a bad Christian, then you're a bad Christian, and I'm a bad Christian, and this and that. Well, then Keanu goes on Simpcast and starts laying into Melonie Mac. And I was waiting for Chrissy to do a little pushback like a good show host does. A little bit of pushback, either defend your friend or go, you know what, Keanu, I agree, Melonie Mac, blah, blah, blah. Chrissy just kind of sat there and mm-hmmed it. You know, this is the same Chrissy that had no problem sweeping for a guy who gave his child cocaine. She actively swept for a guy who gave his child cocaine. And I'll admit, I don't let this go. Claims that I'm the one that corrupted him. And to be fair, Mayor for that. Not eternally, not forever, not she's dead to me or anything like that. But that was a Bush League move. That was an amateur move. She knows it was an amateur move. I know it was an amateur move. But she doesn't defend anybody on that show. Let's watch the Keanu clip here. This is Keanu on Simpcast. And may I say, Keanu and Chrissy are friends. Kudos to Keanu for knowing how Chrissy feels about this Melonie Mac and still having the balls to have an opinion anyway.
She's a lady that found the Lord, and she is like, there are things. She calls herself, there are a lot of Christians that aren't biblically Christian or what have you. And
I will say...
Now, wait a minute. What the now, is that Keanu saying that or Melonie Mac saying that? There aren't Christians that are biblically Christian? Then what the are you? That is the biggest load of horse shit I've ever heard in my life. That's, you know what that is? I want to be a Christian, but I want to have an excuse as to why my ass and titties are out. I'm a Christian, but I'm not a biblical Christian. Get the out of here with the not a biblical Christian.
Then I'm going to call it a grift. It is being shockingly like it's.
Oh, Ashton Birdie. So it's Ashton Birdie, Chrissy, Lila, and Keanu. And I think Keanu is. I think she's found a set of balls because she's really been getting after it. I didn't. Kiwi Farms was accusing me. I was reading the Farms. Love the Farms, but got real critical on me saying I'm drip feeding shit. Like this, I got no more stories for you guys. I got nothing else. My numbers reflect that. I got no other stories other than stuff that happens from now on. New shit. I wasn't drip feeding the nitrous thing. I was telling you that story third person, second hand, third hand maybe. I always considered that Keanu's story to tell. She asked me not to talk about it, so I didn't talk about it. I figured once she talked about it, then it was all right for me to talk about that conversation. But until then, proving that Aaron can keep his mouth shut sometimes. And that kind of annoyed me too, because they're like, yeah, you drip feed and shit. It's like, well, which one is it? Can I not keep my mouth shut? Or am I trickling shit out there? In this instance, I actually kept my mouth shut. I didn't say the thing that someone told me not to say. And then when they came out with it, I go, oh, well, if we're coming out with it, here's what she told me. Here's what I know. I thought people might appreciate that. And God damn it, I was wrong. So let's continue on here. Keanu getting after it on Chrissy's show. Chrissy Mayer, hours before, had just defended Melonie Mac on Twitter.
the word perversion. It's the F slur videos. It's not just like, paging doctor. It's, that's hilarious, right?
That was an uncomfortable laugh.
It's more, what I'm tired of? Faggots. Or, faggots should stay in the closet, or nobody wants to get daddies, right? Which isn't very Christ-like, okay?
Right. That's so they're talking about the previous tweets and the previous things. This is where I agree with Keanu. You can't just keep saying, well, people evolve. People evolve, people change. That's true. From like 22 to 35, I think Melonie Mac's 40? From 22 to 40, yeah, you can change. But you don't have, I'm a good Christian and I don't judge in 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is. That's not a change. That's a grift. You went with the hardline Christian conservative to be edgy, to be, to walk that line. Then when that money and that audience dried up, now you're going to try and jump to something else. Oh, we shouldn't have temptation in video games. And just trying to feed their audience. You don't change that quickly, and Keanu's right about that.
That's
right.
So people
and I think people can also change their minds too.
It's not change their mind. And I think Ashton's great too, but it's not change your mind. It's see which way the winds are blowing, and then go. I hate that. Admit you're doing it, and then I won't hate it. If you just admit you're doing it, like I've said this about Patrick, like as long as you just admit, look, my show was failing, I had nothing, Aaron had a bigger audience, so I grabbed onto him, and now if it's not steel toe, admit that. That's fine. Otherwise, there's just a baseline dishonesty, and we'll all laugh at you for that.
Annoying to me, at least, but
you think it's a grift
game thing? The grift? Yeah, absolutely.
That was Chrissy's most pushback she gave for her friend. And I don't want to hear this shit where you're like, well, Keanu's my friend too. So you can stand up to your friend on behalf of your other friend and give her side of things. Is your friendship with this other person so fragile that if you disagree with her on this one thing, you're not going to be friends anymore? Well, in that case, you got work to do. But if I'm Melonie Mac on this, I'm like, hey, Chrissy, didn't you just go on Twitter and give me this big multi-tweet defense of how, he who is without sin should cast the first stone and all this other shit? Now Keanu's in here calling me a dishonest grifter. And it's okay, Melanie, I've been there too with old Kiki. But here's Keanu saying this shit about your friend that you just defended, and now you're pretending that, it sounds reasonable. Boy, I wouldn't, if I had to be defended publicly on something that was questionable, Chrissy Mayer would not be one of the first 10 people I'd call.
That's a grift.
He probably wouldn't say that. No, but
he did. You remember that?
No, I'm answering you.
I just got to tell Melanie, after that video, I had to unfollow her a couple of months ago because I'm tired of feeling like I'm going to burst into flames. Me and my loved ones are every time.
Wait, she was doing a few months ago and now she's lecturing on video games? Yeah, that's not a people change thing. That's a full-on, hey, let me see if I can jump to this audience and grab a few people. Let me see if I can jump to this audience. And maybe Chrissy wants to defend that and Chrissy doesn't want to go after that because Chrissy kind of did that. Chrissy went from feminist person to, hey, I'm Trump, And then, hey, comics, am I right, guys? Hey, video game, am I right, guys? There, but for the grace of God go I, maybe Chrissy's thinking.
I look at her Twitter. I respect what she's doing. Do I really? You know what? No, I don't.
I will say,
here's the other thing. Chrissy doesn't get to defend Melonie Mac by saying, oh, she changed. This is the same Chrissy that just went after, not Sarah Silverman, Whitney Cummings, for saying that she might be getting a little red-pilled. Yeah, it's too late. You had a chance to get the jab. Mother ain't the gatekeeper on this shit. And then when Melonie Mac turns out to be a grifter, same thing as what you're accusing Whitney Cummings of doing, well, then she's okay because she came on your show once.